Earlier this week, I sat down with Senator Rand Paul to talk about the president's decision to name Ambassador Susan Rice to be his new national security advisor. After all her involvement in the Benghazi controversy, I asked him, what kind of message does that decision send?
Well, you know, I kind of question his judgment. Most people think the president is good with political judgment, but, you know, he's really struggling through all of these scandals, and I think he's losing his moral authority to really lead the nation. And so then he promotes the woman who's been at the heart of the Benghazi scandal, the heart of the Benghazi cover-up, and I just wonder about that judgment, because really there's still a lot of questions why she went on so many talk shows and tried, I think, to purposefully mislead us about why we were attacked at Benghazi.
And of course, appointing her to this position is something that doesn't require Senate confirmation. She won't have to come before you or any other members of your body to answer any questions. But still, it keeps Benghazi alive. It keeps it in the media for a lot of people. So with that in mind, why do you think the White House would take such a bold step?
I don't know. Frankly, it sort of boggles the mind and maybe indicates a certain stubbornness that we're going to see in the second term, that since he doesn't care about electoral politics, he doesn't care whether it's unpopular. But keeping Benghazi in the limelight for him's not good. I think for getting to the truth it may be. I had a conversation with another congressman who said that he asked someone in the leadership in Congress whether or not arms were being exchanged in Benghazi, and the response he got was that was classified. So when someone tells me that, that's not a denial. That's saying I'm not going to talk about it. To me, that almost sounds like yes. I asked that question directly to Hillary Clinton, and she acted surprised like nothing was going on. What does this have to do with Susan Rice? Well, my concern is Susan Rice was doing the cover-up of all these talking points, talking about how it had to do with a movie. Maybe there was a deflection here because they didn't really want to talk about what was going on in Benghazi, which may have been a facilitation of arms to Turkey. And so I think these questions need to be asked, and we need to ask a lot of people in the administration, including Susan Rice, Hillary Clinton, and others, were we shipping arms to Turkey, and was that why the ambassador was there in Benghazi, and why the CIA annex was there?
And that theory has been a very, very provocative one that has been out there and has been discussed. What answers could you get? Where would you go for them to pursue that line of questioning?
The hard part is the response will be that it's classified. But I think if the media were asking the question to high-ranking officials, and if their response is, oh, that's classified, well, I think you're getting an answer there, because if the answer were no, we weren't involved, and you'll notice when I asked Hillary Clinton that question in the committee hearing, she never said no, we weren't involved with transferring guns out of Libya. She just said, oh, I can't imagine. That's not under my, that would be the CIA. We would have to ask them. But she acted like she'd never heard of the question, whereas in other sources, and I think including the New York Times, it's been reported that she actually was saying and was one of the biggest advocates in the administration for arming the Syrian rebels. So I think there are a lot of unanswered questions there. Unfortunately, what gets in the way of it is people saying, oh, that's classified, we're not going to talk about it.
There are a number of things you referenced, scandals going on in Washington. Which do you think is going to be toughest for the White House to manage? Which concerns you the most? We've got Benghazi, we've got the IRS targeting specific conservative and religious groups, and we have the DOJ very aggressively looking into leak investigations. Which is most troublesome to you?
I see some similarity between the targeting of political opponents by the IRS and also the targeting of reporters by the government, because I see this as an abuse of power. And I think that really it doesn't matter what political party you're in. In fact, I have a feeling that most Democrats in this country are offended by this because they know how politics go. One time one party wins, the next year the other party wins. Nobody wants to believe that when your party loses that you're going to be subjected to humiliation and audit and financial ruin by this $4 trillion government that becomes this big nasty bully. So yeah, I think that one, which is mostly the IRS, but I think it resonates with people of both parties because nobody wants some kind of politician that would abuse that authority.
I want to ask you about immigration, another hot topic there in the Senate, and about your Trust But Verify amendment that you've introduced.
We have an amendment that says that Congress should get to verify each year whether or not the border is secure. Our our feeling is that in the past, when we did this in 1986 with immigration reform and we allowed documentation of undocumented workers, that they promised us border security. It never came. That's why a lot of conservatives, myself included, are wary about voting for this. And the only way they can bring people like me along, or conservatives in the House along, is if they say, you know what, every year you're going to get to vote on whether or not the border's secure, and immigration reform, documenting these workers, making them part of the system. It only goes forward if the border is voted to be more secure each year. And it'll be a big battle, and it'll be bruising, and they don't want to go through it, but that's the only way they can convince people like me that they really are serious about securing the border.
And very quickly, do you have the support for the amendment?
We have rumblings of support, but I can't tell you an exact number yet.
All right. Senator, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.